friends. Welcome to a super cold day. I don't really want to be outside, and I feel like it's probably going to be like this for at least another month, but it does make for a very opportune day to deal with all the don't get it right, just get it runnings. You know, I'll deal with that later. Today's the day. It's later, right now. And my number one, top of the list, tinker, that I've been wanting to actually deal with for quite a while, is solving the absolute abysmal excuse of shifting of drivetrain that I have on the Windspace right now. I don't have any spare parts. This isn't getting any upgrades, but what I do have is the knowledge of how to take one of those shifters apart, and hopefully in there is a really gummed up, disgusting, kind of seized ratcheting system that I can, just take apart clean and throw some light lube in there and get it moving freely again, because it seizes, it won't release. It doesn't shift the derailleur down. Admittedly, this thing has always shifted a little slow and sloppy. It's got the shifter off the rock hopper, and I think it's one of the first SRAM Apex shifters that I ever bought. So it's quite old. It's not super surprising that it's getting a little gummed up, but it definitely holds back the potential of what this thing should be, and I'd like to resolve that today. And then if I had brake cables, I would do that too, but I don't. So I'm gonna try, without unwrapping anything, just pull the shifter off with the cables. It's not gonna work, but I'm still gonna try it. So if you're not someone who likes to try and take shortcuts knowing they aren't gonna work later, and you're wondering why I know this isn't gonna work, these two cables, the shift cable and the brake cable, they're never gonna line up well when I'm trying to put this back on. The bar tape's never gonna get, I'm gonna have to undo all this. I know that, but I'm still trying to cut this corner. Just know that this is all gonna come off. You can really see how gunky it is in there. That is hardly conducive to a free moving shifter. Okay, different day, day two, different sweater, different hat, I think different glasses. This is working now. This is not difficult to do, but it is frustrating. You have to, you gotta put this pin, the pin goes in here, you have to put it through all of the guts, and there's springs and stuff pushed down. Anyway, once you get it, it's not so bad. A little glad that this has gone into his second day, that after I got this together around 1:30 p.m. that we took the dog out. I went and visited some friends last night, and gives me the motivation to do this the right way instead of trying to get this back together and, just overall bodging it. And I actually have some BMX linear brake cable. I don't know that it would be quite long enough to reach this whole thing, but now that I have the time, I think I'm gonna at least have a look, which is not something I was gonna do before. If this is long enough, it's gonna be by just enough. Is it worth pulling this all apart? I'm sort of surprised that worked. First try, no warm-ups. Into this last smallest cog, and I'm not really sure why. It's now got new cable, tri-flow in all the new cables, fully rebuilt shifter, so, well, rebuilt, cleaned, lubed. So it's not the shifter holding it back. There shouldn't be anything snagging the cable on the inside. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna clean the cassette. I'm gonna totally clean the chain as well. The rear brake, let me tell you about the rear brake now. So before I put that Odyssey BMX linear cable in this was like a spongy, disgusting, awful mess. Like you pull as hard as you can and pull to the bar in the rear wheel, still wouldn't lock up. Now, it's like so good. It's very important that I get this drivetrain working as good as I got the rear brake working because, well, this bike's just so pretty. Dag nabbit, I want it to be perfect. Hence why I prefer not work on things once they're done. I start to obsess. I'm obsessing right now. Underestimated, underestimated, underestimated. This is better. It's not like great, but it is way better than it has been. I'm gonna admit it. This thing, it should really get new shifters. I should probably just convert this thing to 11 speed and I don't know, burn these shifters maybe. The hood needs to go on, but it does have this little cut in it. I'm thinking that I'll punch a hole at the end of that, and then it won't spread any further, like a crack in a frame. Now it shouldn't continue. So here's how it's shifting. It's not great, but whatever. It's about 100,000 times better than it was. I don't know what it is about this shifter. When it was on the rock hopper, it did the same thing with a completely different derailleur. Yeah, I tried everything. I like put a different cable in. I don't know. It should work better than that, but it doesn't. But hey, on a much more positive note, I managed to scrounge up a new rear cable for this thing. Feels so much better. Can't wait to ride it. The front, I actually, well, on a bike that I'm not riding, it had full rear brake housing, and I was like, that'll work for the front of this. So this now has proper, not completely terrible Bontrager brake cable kit, brake cables on it now, and a drivetrain that actually does touch all the cogs without any sort of like forcefulness of like pulling on the derailleur and stuff. It's working. It's just, you know when like things work buttery smooth and it's so good and quiet and like that's what this should be and it's not. Hence my frustration. I bet the way this is sitting right now, when I go ride it, I won't notice it. It'll be working perfectly fine while riding, but oh, there's just something annoying about when things aren't completely 110% perfect when you're working on them in the stand. That's why you always have to go test ride, and that's why I'm frustrated that I can't right now. Ah.